All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Secretary Adams isn't here today, so I'm going to start with a roll call. Chief Justice Peters. Senator Hebb. Senator Orozaka. Senator Coburn. Senator Andrews. Senator Myers. Senator Bevel. Senator Page. Senator Okafor. Senator Meyer. Senator Kirkby.
Here.
Senator Campbell. Senator Crispley. Senator Kelly. Senator Parchman.
Here.
Senator Francis.
Here.
Senator Arcienko. Senator Barnes. Senator Young. Senator Obiora. Senator Obiora. Senator Lopez. Senator DeSharla.
Here.
Senator Villalobos. Senator Gomez. Senator Stefanski. Senator Ontiveros. Senator Scott. Senator Lubail. Senator White. Okay, we have met quorum. Is anyone here for open forum? Okay, seeing none, we do not have anyone for speaker's podium today, so we're going to go ahead and get on to officer reports. So my week was kind of busy last week. I spoke at investiture. I spoke at Top 25. So those events turned out really good. They were a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of people from the community. So that was great. Other than that, I met with Catherine Lake. I met with Dr. Mirmorand. I met with a lot of people. I met with Dr. Philly. So overall, my week was good. Just updating people on what's been going on and what we've been talking about. Vice President Romero.
Vice President Romero, these past 2 weeks, I spoke with Dr. Banta, the Faculty Senate President, about meeting to have them volunteer at midnight breakfast and serve food. I met with Jamie Dowdy and Sodexo, and I met him again to solidify the menu for midnight breakfast. I sent events and agenda and the notes for that, and I finished the midnight breakfast ballroom playlist, and we're working on the overall playlist for the entire event. Talked to Zane in the UC about our setup for midnight breakfast and the speaker situation. Created a form for tabling at midnight breakfast and finalizing it. Working on the schedule for what's going to go on at midnight breakfast and getting that in order. And stuff for critters have been ordered, t-shirts have been ordered, and the investiture was a really good event. Like, it was nice to see everybody there. Thanks.
Treasurer Mercado.
Treasurer Mercado, throughout last week, I have been communicating with organizations, getting them on the schedule for SGAC, as well as drafting up an email to be sent out to the whole student body about SGAC and the benefits of coming to us for funding for their events. We all went to the investiture and had a very fun luncheon with people of the community, and it was pretty awesome. So yeah.
Chief of Staff Richardson.
Chief of Staff Richardson here. Last week was also pretty busy for me, same events as everyone else. I was at the top 25% panel with Ali, and then I also went to the investor with the rest of the e-board. Got a lot of good networking in there, and there was a lot of very interesting people to meet. I really like our new president, Dr. Philly. I think if you guys get a chance to meet with her, please do. She is very outgoing and very interested in students. So I think we're going to have her come over and speak at some point, so you guys can get that chance to meet her in the future. As for the rest of what I've done, today I actually met with Dean Swinburne along with Dane and the other College of Business senators, just kind of as a handoff, since me and him were both senators last semester, talking about kind of how things are looking and what we're going to be doing this semester, and just getting ready to be a senator and represent. So very exciting times. So that's about it for my report.
Thank you. I just realized that I skipped over the approval of minutes, so I'm going to go back to that. So if you are a new senator and you have not been sworn in yet, you are not allowed to vote in this. You will be able to participate later once you are sworn in. So here's the minutes. I'll give you a little bit of time to look over those. We sent those out along with the agenda. I entertain a motion to vote on last week's minutes. All those in favor of last week's minutes, please raise your hand. Okay, you can lower your hands. All those opposed to last week's minutes, please raise your hand. Any abstentions to last week's minutes? Okay, so those have passed. Thank you. Sorry about that again. Moving on to our committee reports. We're going to start with events.
Vice President Romero, events did not meet last week.
SGAC.
Treasurer Mercado, for SGC, last week we met with BSA, the Black Student Association, where we approved their BSA Spooky Arts and Crafts Night and approved them for up to $100, which was actually more than they requested, just because they didn't realize the definition of consumable. During my email to the whole student body, I will be clarifying what consumable means. This week we are meeting so far with 3 student organizations and hopefully 1 more to come.
And I did skip over communications because Secretary Adams is not here. Rules?
Chief of Staff Richardson, rules did not meet last week, but the week before last we did after our meeting, so I can give the report on that. We've been discussing the election policy and how we do balloting and stuff like that. I am going to be setting up the poll today now that we are going to have more senators, and once everyone's sworn in and everyone gets in the group me to do scheduling for our committee permanently. Excited to have that happen and have more people in there, but we've been doing good so far. So.
Anything for ESC?
Yes, we voted on a meeting time, so we'll be meeting Wednesdays at 5:30 via Zoom. We're also looking for more members, so if you haven't joined a committee yet or you want to join another one, I posted in the group me earlier our group chat, so feel free to join.
Could you explain a little bit about what ESC is?
Oh yes, of course. So ESC, we kind of work on, we've been working on Arbor Day. We usually plan a spring event, which has usually been Earth Day. We talk about environmental issues that are going around campus. I know the new nursing construction, that was one of our concerns that we were working on last semester. But anything environmental we work on. But yeah.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to student voice reports. If you could raise your hand if you're a Liberty Landing Senator, and we'll bring the mic over.
Senator Villalobos here. A few weeks ago, Ronnie reported to Dr. Joe because a few students reported or they were requesting an access code at the front gate at Liberty. That got shut down immediately because it does break a housing handbook policy, because each student has to be with their guests at all times, including DoorDashers, family, just any guests in general. 2 pending reports that I meant to report at RHA last week, but we didn't meet last week. Students who live on the other side of Liberty, the other parking lot side, They claim that it will be more convenient that that gate will be accessible for exit. Few quoting, why is the gate there if we can't use it, you know? The reasons, less traffic on the main side for entrance and more conveniency. Many students are wanting to input a 3 noise complaint warning system. I'm aware that the walls are very thin at Liberty and we can't do much about that. We can't really tell the difference between, you know, normal stepping and just horse playing around. We can't really do much about that. But I did my research and many universities do have a 3 warning system, complaint system about that. I will discuss these at RHA tomorrow, and I will discuss this more at the next SGA meeting in old business.
So moving on to Grande Village, please raise your hand.
Hello, Senator Scott here for that. For Grande, most people are pretty happy with everything except for the price. I don't think there's much we can do about that. Other than that, there is a couple things that we talked about in RHA and with Ronnie and Dr. Joe about. So currently we don't have a clubhouse. So for any meetings, they just kind of pick a empty apartment, and that's where we all meet for that. Other than that, we had a few people complain about us being stuck into one internet provider. Whenever we were first like touring it, they were like, oh, you get to pick your own internet. And then whenever they made you sign the contract, it's specifically with Vexus, which I think is like 90 a month or something like that. So other than that, things are going pretty good. We have our own, like, separate from housing, we have the property managers and they throw their own events and have everything, including maintenance, separate from that.
Thank you. Anyone else here from Grande Village? Okay, moving on to Omen Hills, please raise your hand.
Senator White, I have heard some of the same complaints for Grande Village as well, like not having a clubhouse, internet problem as well. And that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have anything to add for old business? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to open new business. I entertain a motion to conduct senator swear-ins. Okay, so if you are a new senator who has not been sworn in yet, please stand up. Can everyone see this okay? Yes. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I insert name. Do solemnly swear that I shall faithfully represent the interest of the student body of the University of Texas at Tyler. I shall dutifully uphold and preserve the Constitution and bylaws of the Student Government Association while ardently executing the office of insert position for the student body at the University of Texas at Tyler. Thank you, everyone. You can go ahead and be seated. If you did just get sworn in, please come and see me after the meeting so that I can record that for the minutes. Okay. I entertain a motion to close Senate swear-ins. I entertain a motion to open a tutoring discussion. So what I've been hearing is that students have had a little bit of trouble finding where their tutoring locations are now that it's not in the 4th floor of library. I've also heard that some people were told where their tutoring was at and then it got moved. So it's just been a little bit of confusion for everybody. So I just wanted to get all of your opinions on that. And also if you guys think that it would be easier if the tutoring time and place was put into the syllabus for that specific class.
Saw that hand first.
Senator Okafor. So I know for at least a couple of my classes that do have SI leaders and past tutors, they heavily communicate that in their Canvas courses, being that it is pathophysiology and it's an extremely hard class. Centralized tutoring has last year been a point of contention because not many people would come to the library to go to their tutoring. And the idea of like spreading it out around campus makes it so that students after class can go and see their tutors and won't have to go all the way over to the library. I think that having it spread out, I just think we need more time to see if it really benefits from last year's system.
And to speak to that comment, I did meet with Dr. Swain and she did give me a little bit of information that actually tutoring has been more utilized this year as rather than it has in previous years, just because it's a little bit easier to know exactly where to go. But Senator Page.
Senator Page. So I just pulled up Patriots Engage, and 6 of the 6 that I can see like on the very first of them are tutoring, and right next to them they have the location. Any confusion about location is I don't understand it. But like just scrolling through here, you can find tutoring for any class you would need, and it is clearly stated where it'll be, when it'll be. So just I guess emphasize to use Patriots Engage. They did not use Patriots Engage as actively in the past, and now everything is on there, and it's amazing.
Treasurer Mercado.
So I just wanted to speak briefly about the whole Patriots Engage thing. 2 comments I have heard personally from people that work in tutoring, that tutoring does get switched last minute. They get kicked out of rooms. And so that I think is where the confusion is with some students, because it would be like a last minute change. So it's not on Patriots Engage at that point because no one knows where to go. Yes, exactly. Is it an outdated info at that point? And sometimes it takes time to be able to switch that. I forgot what my second point was going to be, so I'll move on. Who's next?
Senator Lopez. And so due to like the last minute change, I'm wondering, is there an app that tutors have access to send like messages that to all the students who are showing up to their tutoring? And if not, would it be beneficial for them to also join a group meet or to help set up a group meet so that way if last minute meetings do frequent, because I understand maybe it's like they get kicked out because a higher organization has priority or they need it for some like meeting or something. That way it's much easier and the students can get it much faster. And that way, if they're on their way over there, they can switch path.
So next semester, they are going to try to reserve the classrooms as an actual class would. So that might help alleviate them getting, kicked out of classrooms, but that's kind of a process that they have to go to. So, this semester is definitely a trial and error semester, but they're looking at ways to kind of alleviate some of the issues they're having.
Hi, Senator Lubale. To, I guess, piggyback off of what Senator Lopez was saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, like some of the classes that I'm taking this semester that has a tutor affiliated with that class, their communication is done through Canvas. So is that not like an app that we can use, like for if there are any last minute changes, any tutors that are affiliated with whatever class, can they not communicate with students through Canvas to let them know? Is there a tutor like affiliated with every class is basically what I'm trying to ask so that they can use?
I don't know about with every single class on the campus. I don't believe so. I think for majority of, the freshman classes or the nursing classes that are really big and things like that, there is, but they could definitely communicate through Canvas. I think it's just communicating to the actual tutor that they need to communicate changes. I think that's an easy fix that they can make. Senator.
Senator Orejeka here. About the tutoring, like my own perspective of it, what I've gone through and my fellow course mates have is a clash of time schedules because some like three of my courses, they have the scheduling time at the same day. And when we have like an exam, because my exams are like back to back, and the exam reviews are all on the same day at the same time. So it makes it hard to pick one. You have to sacrifice two, and like that's what I kind of have a problem with, and other people have had problem with. I've had people tell me we have to split it. I'll have to go for this one, someone else to go for this one, someone else to go for this one, so we can all share our notes. So if something can be done about the scheduling, like making more spread. I know there are still students and they still have their own courses, but that's just the problem I have.
Thank you for the information. I will pass that along.
Senator Okafor, to answer Senator Orejaka's question, scheduling, I was a past tutor. Scheduling has always been an issue, but to combat that, the university has a third-party website, which is Upswing, which is available 24/7. So if a student is having scheduling issues, I would also recommend them to use Upswing because those are also like licensed professionals in the field.
In your all opinion, do you believe that the other tutoring options have been communicated to you guys sufficiently? Like, do you all seem to know about it? So, Senator Meyer.
Senator Meyer, I would say no, in my opinion, because I am a transfer. So I didn't come here as a freshman. I didn't go through freshman orientation and all. And for me, like still to this day, I still don't know all of them. I'm not gonna lie. I do think that is like one of the main things that we could work on as a school is like getting the word out more. I think in a lot of the aspects of the school is like that is the main issue is the communication part because like all of the senators have said, there's plenty opportunities, but they're just not being outspoken as much. And that's what I feel is the issue. Because I know for my patho class, like, yeah, I've heard it. I've got the tutors that show up in class. That's great. But my other 4 classes, I've heard nothing. So I would just say like it's mostly a communication thing on their side of it.
Anyone else have anything to add? Senator Treasurer Mercado.
So I remember my second point from earlier when it comes to the Patriots Engage and tutoring. Personally, and I've heard this from other students as well, we don't believe that Patriots Engage is the best platform for tutoring to use. Because what Patriots Engage was meant to and was built for is for us as students to be able to see the activities and the events going on campus. So why do we have tutoring on a platform meant for that when tutoring is more education based for classes?
I believe the thought behind that is a lot of students go on to Patriots Engage and obviously like they're gonna see where tutoring is. I did have the idea, and I don't know what y'all's opinions on this is, but on creating a separate page for academic events and actual student organization events. I don't know if you guys think that's a good idea. I'd love to hear your input, but instead of having it, all on one page where tutoring is the first 6 events you see, have kind of a separate tab for tutoring opportunities and things like that. Yes, and
Senator White, I have a few things I was going to comment on. So as for the people who haven't heard anything from their classes, that could be because they don't have one. I've had a few classes where we don't have them. It just depends on the semester. And then as for Patrons Engage, I think it is a good idea to have the tutoring on there. Maybe, like you said, have the separate academic side to it. But I think a lot of people go there to look for what's going on. Hey, can I find my tutoring on here? Because a lot of people may not have Instagram or something like that where they get that information. So
Senator Page. So whenever you open up Patriots Engage, if you go on the left side like on the main events page, there's a bar with options. You can filter by category and like go to the like academic category. It only pops up tutoring options. Now that doesn't fix, the changes that happen unexpectedly, but that is how you can find it without having to scroll through all the different fun events.
Okay, thank you for that information. I haven't looked into that. Yes.
Senator Young, I think it would be beneficial in the future. Obviously, this probably could not happen this semester or next year, where instead of Patriots Engage, there is just a different platform for tutoring. Also, I think that would be beneficial because you could input the classes you are taking. Because I know personally, when I go on Patriots Engage, all I get are these nursing classes, and I'm a freshman political science major, so I do not need those classes. And then I also do want to look for the fun events, and here I'm just scrolling through all these classes I don't need. Also, I did attend freshman orientation, and I still obviously I still do not know about all of the different tutoring options. Like I just completely forgot about Upswing or did not hear anything about that. So I think it could be beneficial if during some week or some day during the school, maybe tutoring organizations could all come to the UC set up, and then each person could have a QR code with a group me. So if you are in, say, a nursing class, or you're in some kind of psychology or maybe an English class, then there would be a booth from that college with all of the tutoring that they have so that you could see the options for that semester.
Okay.
Senator Lubale, piggybacking off of what was said, I worked as an orientation leader and soup camp leader this past summer, and we have our org fair, and I'm wondering if it would maybe be beneficial for incoming freshmen to see these tutoring options at the org fair that we have for them during the summer before they actually get here, because I know once fall semester actually starts, like you're basically hitting the ground running. Like after syllabus week, you're hitting the ground running with classes, and then not too long after is midterm. So I'm wondering if we could implement this maybe sometime during the summer when they're here for freshman orientation, or if they're not able to make in-person orientation. I know we now have an online version. Are we able to, I don't know, send them a link to the group me or whatever we choose to do that has more information about what each tutoring option entails?
Absolutely. I think having that at freshman orientation as well as transfer orientation would be
Yes.
beneficial. I will pass that along. Yeah. Anyone else?
Senator Lopez, I just wanted to bring something back to what you mentioned earlier. Then the spring semester, they plan to like resume rooms like classes actually do. And so my question on that is, so is it gonna be first come, first serve between the tutors and the professors? And if so, does that mean that is that gonna also affect again, certain classes are gonna be much later in the day, or tutoring sessions much later in the day, depending on room availability? Because I know some of my classes this semester that I've noticed there's classes back to back to back in that room. After like I'm leaving one of my classes, another class is usually like coming in.
Yeah, so I believe, of course, classes will have like actual professors and classes will have first opportunity to reserve just because those are the highest on the priority list. Of course, we're a university, that's what we're here to do. But I believe that the tutoring could be in an adjacent room. So if the classroom was in, if we were in this classroom in COB 112, if COB 110 or COB 111 was open, they could go in there and reserve that room instead of blocking off this room.
Treasurer Mercado, my question to that though is, why can't tutoring just have its own generalized classroom and or room in each college? Like, why do we have to have separate classrooms every single time for separate tutoring sections, I guess?
Senator White here. So for that, I'm actually a nursing major, and that wouldn't be possible for all of our classes, for example, because we we have a college, but a lot of the undergrad classes aren't in that college. So we're biology, wherever we are. I mean, so that would be kind of hard for nursing majors like that. Now, like College of Business, that might be really easy, but I don't know how that would be for psychology majors and all that too, because we're in the music building, for instance.
Same thing for, oh, excuse me, Senator Lubale. Same thing for, I'm a health sciences major. And again, like what Senator White was saying, all my classes usually are scattered around. And to my knowledge, there's not even a health science college on campus. I could be wrong, but I don't believe there is one. So I don't see how that would work either. Because I am spread around like everybody else is, like with other classes. So.
Senator Hebb.
Senator Hebb, so with my concern, I think with especially different majors having different classes all over, like I'm an English major and I'm in CAS, I'm in engineering, it's all over the place. And I hear other people have a similar experience. For me, I'm like, if there was a central space, even like though the library is a little bit out of the way, I think having that reserved space in the library is extremely beneficial to keeping communication clear and not having so much work and confusion over like what room and what time and all that stuff. Because I don't, at TJC at least, like that's how it was there. And I saw that to be a lot easier to access. But yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify. So when I say like biology, I'm going to use that example because I feel like we all have to take that at one point as freshman, sophomore, or if you save it for your senior year, I don't know. That would be classified as an arts and science course, technically, because, or wherever it's classified as. Therefore, that would be in the arts and science building. Like it's like the course and what it's mainly for the majors. I don't know, y'all. So
Back here.
I was just gonna offer an idea I was thinking about. So what if we have the class, the one tutoring session in the actual classroom, but in the past they've had several tutoring hours. What if the rest of them go back to the library to have that for the students who can't make that one class?
Yeah, I'll definitely pass that on as an idea. I know the fourth floor of the library is, I think, being built out for something else, but I think you could find a centralized location to maybe have after hours, possibly, later in the evening when a lot of people are in the library or wherever they are. So
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the library either, somewhere central that it's always going to be at, but that was just my idea.
absolutely, I will pass that on. Anyone else? Senator Page.
Senator Page, I motion to close discussion.
Okay.
I motion to open discussion about the School of Nursing Senators meeting with Dr. Haas and advising.
So just for clarification, when a senator motions to do something, it only has to be seconded. When the e-board motions, it has to be entertained and seconded, just for clarification. I know it's confusing. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have a lot of information, so I'm going to try and run through it all, and then we'll go to questions and kind of discussion. Last week, we opened it up to discussion on kind of what y'all want to know, and here is what we got. So it's split between two meetings, the dean and advising. So starting with the meeting with Dr. Haas, our new building was a huge topic. There are no dedicated faculty offices in the new building. This was decided by the faculty. The nursing mission statement is very student-centered, so that was the goal. The top floor, the third floor that is not yet open, will be it'll be designed for like student-centered spaces. It'll have a wellness center, kind of a studio where we do local community classes or yoga, or kind of, it's really open for anything. It'll have kind of a fitness area. It will also be the base of our research center. So the really cool thing about that, we got access to a bunch of de-identified patient data so we can start researching topics about our region. Okay, student affairs will also be up there, and our student orgs such as the NSNA will be based up there as well. and that should open up end of next summer. Starting in the initial opening, spring 2025, we will begin our flight nursing program. We have chosen out a flight coordinator, Carlton Rojas. He's got 20 to 25 years of experience. He has laid out our entire curriculum. They didn't expand upon that yet, but it will be a emergency transport elective for current students. And then once you graduate and get 2 to 3 years of experience, you can come back and get your whole certification. There are outside prereqs for that. But we will be getting a helicopter, ambulance, and OR sims for that. So big investment. It'll be really cool. Starting fall 2025, we should be opening our CRNA program. And within the next 2 years, they said, we will be having our BSN to DNP, which is our Bachelor's of Science of Nursing. That's the degree we currently get, to a Doctorate of Nursing Practice. And they're also working towards getting a SANE certification, which is I messed up this acronym. Victoria, you got me on this, SANE. It is, I don't remember the exact acronym, but you specialize in sexual assault nursing. So it is a very important job, and we look forward to starting that soon. Advising, we will go into that in the next one. The big one, the simulation. They loved that idea. Oh, same. Sexual assault nurse examiner certification. Okay, the simulation, that was our big topic that y'all wanted to know a lot about, and they were very excited to talk about it. This is something we have been attempting to get started for a long time, but it's kind of been one of those things that has been, we don't want to be in charge of it, but y'all don't want to be in charge of it. Like, it's just been bounced around from college to college. As of right now, though, next year marks the 50th anniversary of the School of Nursing. And with all the events we currently have going on, we are looking at doing a spring simulation of some kind, hoping to collaborate with the School of Medicine, Pharmacy, and really everyone on campus. If that does come to fruition, we'll have a lot more to talk about then. As of now, it is very much it should be happening. Hopefully. Exams. Right now, nursing students are kind of bouncing in and out of rooms on where they're taking their exam. It's not really consistent. For example, my pharmacology class is in this room, but we take exams over in the College of Pharmacy on Mondays, because obviously this room isn't available on Mondays. But that is causing issues with us bumping other classes, or we've also been crashing the internet at times over there with everybody. So to fix that, they should be opening up Library 401. I believe it should have opened up this week as a dedicated room for nursing testing. And they are installing additional access points for internet, and they should be hardwiring at some point, but that'll take some time. The freshman guarantee, we will talk about that. That's a whole thing with the advising. So Christus is one of our facilities that we do clinicals at. We have UT Health and Christus. Christus will be expanding facilities in Palestine. We got that information from Christus's CNO, so that's exciting. More opportunities for Palestine. Starting next year, we're doing Nurses Week at some point. I don't have a date for this, unfortunately, but we might have an opportunity to table at that. We're looking at doing a nurses walk, kind of like a walk for Alzheimer's style, raise some money, and then we will pick a target charity to push that money towards. Okay. The big thing with the dean was the 50th anniversary. School of Nursing was established in 1975. We will have events year round. Every Thursday, we will have Thankful Thursdays on and off campus, and we will in some way show appreciation to graduates, alumni, students, nurses in general. We'll have alumni spotlights, highlight different ways we can get back to the community all week, wrapping it up with a big gala in January of 2026. So other than that, we will be doing a spring welcome back breakfast for students, and we can look at having SGA participate in that if we would like. We're almost done. I swear. I'm trying to take a breath. School of Nursing Advising. This was a separate meeting we had. We met with William Massey. He's the director of advising. One of the big things we talked about is advising outreach. As I'm sure y'all heard, there was a lot of complaints whenever students weren't able to get advising about 2 weeks ago. There's a 1 week period where they were told no advising whatsoever. Unfortunately, that's just because they were trying, or they were looking, gotta breathe. They were enrolling students into the level classes. So students that are bumping up from like their pre classes into levels 1 through 4. That took up everything. And we just talked about how using social media or EAB, which EAB is our navigate. But you don't get any text through that unless you enable them. So students don't do that, unfortunately. But just better ways we can push out this information so we're not getting 400 questions of why am I not getting advised. Okay. One of the changes as of this year is all nursing students are required to take Nurse 1000. Best way I can describe this, it is like a nursing 101 for freshmen. There are 4 classes of 90 each. They're required for preferred clinical placement. I will explain that in a minute. Attend 70% of them to pass. It's not a grade. It's an entirely free class. And most of the knowledge you learn doesn't really apply to your prereqs. It applies to once you get into nursing and how to apply for nursing. And they are requiring us to meet with our career coach now. So that is an awesome thing. Okay, the big one. As all y'all know, a huge draw of UT Tyler Nursing is the freshman guarantee. Now, the freshman guarantee does not exist in the understanding that we previously had. Freshman guarantee is not a thing. Those words are not a thing. Okay. This was a change that was forced by federal financial aid because pre-nursing is not a major technically. So they're looking to change the curriculum somewhat for freshmen and sophomores in spring of 2025. But with the elimination quotes of the freshman guarantee, all students admitted to BSN are now considered preclinical and clinical. So, for example, if you're in levels 1 through 4, you're clinical. Anything below that, you're preclinical. To make it into the program, you need a 3.0 GPA and a 57% on the T's. If you, for those of you that do not know what the T's test is, it's like a aptitude, aptitude, is that the right word? Yeah, aptitude test for nursing. It's, think STAR test type deal. For preferred placement, you need a 3.25 and a 65%. So what they did now is they gave you a base milestone, and to get the placement that you want in between Tyler, Longview, and Palestine, you have to meet that higher one. That's not to say you won't make it and get that placement, but that will get you that placement. I believe that is everything. They are working to kind of meet with students earlier and develop those relationships. So if any issues come up, they can hopefully address them sooner before you have a bunch of classes that don't transfer quite as well. Do we have any questions?
I actually have a question. How do the nursing, how does everyone in nursing feel about the, quote unquote, no freshman guarantee?
I actually lost my freshman guarantee, unfortunately. And so it's awkward for me because it's like I don't have it, but now it's like that's not a thing. So I was grandfathered in, but I'm not. And it's very confusing where I'm at in that. And I think transfer students may kind of feel the same way because I'm basically a transfer student now, essentially.
To clarify, this does not affect any incoming or any current students. This affects the most recent class that came in as of, this summer into this fall. And also transfer students didn't have the guarantee at all. So it also doesn't really affect them. The GPA changes will affect them in that I guess it makes it more competitive, but yeah.
And I just wanted to clarify on the simulation part of it for anybody who's new. So last meeting we had talked about, we had thrown around the idea of doing kind of a mass casualty simulation within the UC. I don't know if you've ever seen these done, but you do your makeup, you get blood poured on you, blah, blah, blah. Typically, you'll have a card saying, what the exact problem is, what it happens, and then our idea was the nursing students and anyone on campus kind of in that realm would come in, kind of go through that scenario and save people. So yeah, that was just some clarification I wanted to add.
So kind of like what high schools do around prom for, okay, I don't know if y'all have ever seen this. I grew up in Frisco, so this was a big thing. Yeah, the drunk driving simulation. Shattered Dreams. I couldn't think of the name, so thank you for reminding me. Where they like do a whole simulation and every single hour someone dies. A senior would quote unquote die and like leave the class and then come back in like gray clothes and wouldn't be able to talk, and there was like 24 hours of not being able to talk. It was very emotional, y'all. As a sophomore, it was very emotional to go through that. So kind of like that in a way, I'm guessing.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Senator Young, I know this does not affect y'all as much, but I'm a tour guide. And so just now learning about there's no freshman guarantee anymore was kind of a big surprise because we constantly tell people that are coming in for nursing. I know I have told so many people about the freshman guarantee, and now I kind of feel bad. I just crushed all their dreams.
Okay.
So I think kind of like spreading that around, especially like if any of that changes, definitely like to the welcome center and admissions. And then also as of like October 17th, we're going to start giving specialized tours for potential like nursing students. So that information now is great to have all that.
Yeah, so I can contact them and let them know that that needs to be clarified before y'all start, giving very specialized tours. I'll contact them tomorrow and let them know.
Okay, Senator Okafor. So basically, kind of to like further clarify this, if you're a nursing major, you get admitted with nursing and then you meet the requirements. And if you continue to stay within those requirements, you get into the nursing program. But if you don't, then you have to pick a different major, basically.
Senator Meyer, I was just gonna say, from what you said, it's kind of like that in a way, but it's more just like it's more broad. So like instead of thinking about one person like dying at a time, it would be like there'd be a whole scene set up. And like I know for the nursing orientation, they have like somebody laying on a bed and they're like bloody and everything, and they're like, oh, this is what happened to them, da 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 da. So it kind of be like more like that, like the UC, there'd be people like somebody caught on fire over here, somebody got a COVID outbreak and like they're helping them with COVID, or it'll be like a bunch of different scenarios. And then we even talked to them about partnering with like the EMTs in Tyler and for them to come in. So they'll come in and play a part. Like they said our nursing students would play a part, and like our different areas, our pharmacy, like all the buildings. So it would be more like broad. And then also we talked to them about the events committee talked about doing the the exam week bags, and they gave me a date for that. That would be good for them. They said December 5th and the 6th. So I just wanted to let you know about that for their final bags.
Okay. In the back.
Senator Luvale, going off what Senator Meyer said for the mass casualty event, I'm work as an EMT here in Tyler, and I have a little experience with mass casualty events because I'm also in the military, and we do these simulations literally all the time. So is there an actual way to do that? Because I feel like this would be so fun, and like I'm not saying I'm the most knowledgeable person in the room, but I would love to be able to like help out with this because I think it's so cool.
Senator Page. So something I mentioned in the meeting whenever we were talking about this is that these things a massive undertaking to do. So, if we're the one taking that, effort, the city would most likely love to use this as a training exercise and slide us some resources, hopefully. So we were talking about looking at involving fire, EMS, and possibly the hospitals. So we'll just have to see about that. To clarify the freshman guarantee thing, on the website right now, it's not up to date. It somewhere on the website there's the new policies, but it's like buried and it hasn't, I guess, gone through the layers of approval to make it to the top. As of right now, the guarantee doesn't exist, but the milestones exist. So what is on the website right now, for example, the non-freshman guarantee / transfer section, that's milestone 1 for admission. The freshman guarantee section right here, that would be milestone 2 for the preferred placement. So this was a change that we first found out about, or I first found out about. I gave a whole presentation and answered questions with a bunch of parents at our first orientation session. And then I went and took their students to their advising, and we found out right then and there that everything we just told them was wrong, and it had like been approved that morning. So it is still a very new change.
Senator Young, really quickly, I think we do, like because of like the day and age we live in with school shootings, I think we have to like be very careful if we do this mass casualty event and like tread very lightly. So obviously, if y'all talked about this, I don't know if this was mentioned in the previous meeting, but I think we need to do something where we can kind of make it fun or kind of like send out a warning or post a warning like, hey, like this event is going on, like it could like trigger people. So I think we just need to be really careful with like how we do it.
It will definitely be communicated quite a lot beforehand just because of the, sensitive situation. We will definitely communicate that as much as possible so that people are aware.
Okay, Senator Page again. Yeah, we didn't really discuss what scenario we would go with yet. Because of, how it is today, we probably would not do a mass shooting scenario. But we did talk about this would likely be a week-long event that would culminate on Saturday in the mass simulation. But we were looking at possibly doing like optional trainings. Some of these would be open to all students, such as perhaps like Stop the Bleed. That is a wonderful certification. I really recommend you get it. It's like a 30-minute course. It's fun. And then some of them might be a little more specialized to each major. We would push out as much information as we could about this so that if anybody did have an issue with any things, what areas they need to avoid. And yeah.
Just as a curiosity, I know with Stop the Lead, you get certified in the end. Could we possibly do a CPR one, especially for majors like the School of Education and Psych, where we do deal with children and on an everyday basis, where they could get CPR certified that day?
I'm going to answer that with like a maybe. It would entirely depend on, first off, interest in it, like if we would even have anybody sign up for that, and then if we have too many people sign up for that, that would pose its own issue. Perhaps we can bring that up.
Because I know we could potentially like partner with like the American Heart Association, because they have a bunch of resources to be able to do something like this. And if you have any questions, I can share my contacts with you for them.
There's also like we have a Red Cross like thingy here in Tyler, which is where I go to get my BLS certification, like recertified. And I know they like work with UT Tyler all the time. So there's also that resource that we can use. So yeah.
Great. Thank you for that information. Is there anybody else? Any other questions, comments? I entertain a motion to close the nursing major, nursing simulation discussion. Okay. I entertain a motion to, does anyone have anything else to add for new business?
Vice President Romero, I would like to entertain a motion to talk about midnight breakfast scheduling. Okay, thanks guys. So yeah, I'm gonna need to look at all y'all. So like midnight breakfast is October 22nd. I literally say it every day. October 22nd. It's from 10 p.m. to midnight, but just letting y'all be aware, we need to set up 2 hours earlier, so 8 p.m. in the UC. I know traditionally it's on a Wednesday, and it's causing like some conflicts being like on a Tuesday this semester that we could not work with. So the Career Success Conference is on a Thursday this year, October 24th, and they need to have their stuff set up a day before. So it really contradicts with midnight breakfast. And we try to fight them about it, saying like, hey, like back off, this is our day. But they were like, no, we already like have stuff scheduled, and it was just out of our hands at that point. So that's why it's on a Tuesday this year. If you need for like you absolutely cannot make it, I need you to submit an absence request for it. I need that as soon as possible, so then we can work on scheduling. That's all I need to say. What's up?
I know last semester we made a deadline for those to submit by. Should we do that again this semester?
We will discuss that tomorrow, and I will send out a message in the group meet if we decide on that. Senator Page?
Senator Page, I was just wondering, have we begun reaching out to organizations and how many have we had respond?
Yes, so we are planning on sending that email out tomorrow or Thursday with a link to a survey for them to fill out and get that going. So it's coming. Right here. Right here, right here, right here.
Senator Llewellyn, I wanted to know how does it work for where we get placed to work midnight breakfast? How does that work? Like, how do y'all determine
Yeah.
these senators are going to be like checking in people, these senators are going to be like serving food?
So e-board gets to kind of decide that. We kind of, look at all the senators, see how many we have, put them where we feel we need people.
Sorry, Vice President Rowe, just to clarify, in the past, they've used like randomizing software to like just put random names and spots, and then like we basically evaluate that and just put people in.
I was just asking, how do y'all do as far as like people having like people that are in multiple organizations that this is a required event for?
So SGA typically supersedes the organization, especially because for tabling, you can only have, 2 people really running the table. So yeah, we would like for you to prioritize SGA if possible. Email me, Robert.
Chief of Staff Richardson, I believe we also had some time where if you were finished at your station and we don't need people anymore, you can go and participate with your other organization as long as we don't need you for something. But because we're running the entire event, if we do need you, we'll want you to be there. But there usually is a cool down period where there's plenty of time to go and be at the table. And I think all of us got time to go and just whatever the word is, wander, I guess, around the event. So there is some time for that as well.
Yeah, it just depends on the flow.
Senator Lopez, how long does cleanup usually take?
Cleanup typically takes about an hour and a half, an hour. It just depends on, how messy things are. Some years it's been shorter, some years, it's longer. But typically we can get it broken down pretty quick, especially because there's a lot of us and people do try to help. So we try to get it done as quickly as possible.
Senator Okafor. So in events committee, we also talked about Dr. Philly wanting admin and faculty to help out in the Met with serving food. Is that still on?
We are trying to kind of collaborate with them to get volunteers and things and talk to them about it.
Very fun.
Senator Lubale, I'm new to this, so I'm so sorry for like asking a lot of questions. For if we are getting the faculty and like pro staff admin, just last year for midnight breakfast, did we not have like Sodexo staff? Are they gonna be like helping us?
So we do have Sodexo, but they're mostly going into the kitchen and trying to, because food goes by really, really quick. So they're mostly handling hot food, hot dishes, and things like that. And they're running the food from the back to the front. So mainly last year, we were kind of just standing there and they would bring the food and we would serve. So
Okay.
that's kind of how that worked last year, but there's not enough of them to
Okay.
completely man the.
Center page. Do we know any of the counts for shirts or meals we plan to serve or any of that yet?
Yes, so we did order 750 shirts. So those should be in at least the Friday before, if not earlier. Kathy can speak more to the Sodexo with the meals.
Vice President Romero, about the meals. I spoke with Jamie in the past years, Jamie Dowdy and Sodexo. In the past years, it's usually been fall that's been the most busiest midnight breakfast. Fall 2022, there's a peak about of 930 students. So we're pretty close to that 1,000 mark. In the past few years, it's been about 850, 870, close to 900. But this year, with more incoming freshmen and more admission to the university, more students overall, we're expecting about like 950, 970, close to that 1,000 mark. So that's what we're preparing for.
And I believe we ordered around 500 shirts last year for midnight breakfast.
Senator Lopez, if we do get a sufficient amount of volunteers from faculty and staff, are they going to be also doing a scheduled shifts? And who would they be checking in, to us or to some other like faculty member?
So they would that still kind of has to be worked out. I think they could probably schedule their shifts however they feel is necessary. But we're still kind of working on the intimate details.
Anybody else? Okay. In closing, please submit if you absolutely cannot make midnight breakfast, but if you can go, please go. It's really fun. Why am I going over here?
I entertain a motion to close midnight breakfast discussion. Does anyone have anything else to add for new business? Okay, seeing none, I entertain a motion to close new business. So Josh is not here today. He is on vacation. So we're gonna go ahead and skip advisor comments. Announcements. We do need you to join a committee. If you're not in the SGA group meeting, please see me after the meeting. We will get you into those committee group meetings and as well as the SGA group meeting. Midnight breakfast. We just talked about it. October 22nd. It is required. Arbor Day is that Saturday. That is another required event. Arbor Day, you get there around 9 in the morning and we're done by 10:30, 11. They do feed you. You really just plant trees. It's not a lot of work. So yeah. Trunk or treat is October 20th. We will have a car. So please, 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 if you would like to volunteer, please come see me after the meeting. It's super fun. About 3,500 people, kids came last year. So it's about 5 people per car. So really we only need around 5 people to volunteer for that. Global quiz night, that is kind of a trivia night that Honors does. It's a super fun event. I really recommend that you sign up. If you do need the link to sign up, I have it. So please come see me. Another additional announcement, if you were sworn in today, I'm just reminding you, please come see me after the meeting so that I can make sure you get written down, as I need that for the minutes. So does anybody have any other announcements? Do you have a question?
The trunk or treat is, you said we need volunteers and we have a part. Do we have a theme picked out or will that be up to the volunteers?
So we'll get with the volunteers and decide what kind of we want our theme to be. Senator Lopez asked if the volunteers would pick the theme for the car and what that kind of detail would look like.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to mix together. For trunk or treat, what time is it?
So trunk or treat, I believe, starts at 5. I believe. I think we typically get around 4 to like set up and make sure we have everything ready, but I believe it's 5 to 7, if I'm not mistaken. But I can have more information on that soon. Anyone else? Any other questions? Okay, we will see you next week. I will send out the minutes and agenda by the end of this week. I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, guys.
And new senators, do not leave. Stay. If anybody wants to join a committee, please also stay. We have QR codes.